Hey guys, Bright Pizza YGO here, coming at you with like a little bit of a Dragonmaid deck building discussion. So I showcased my 40 card Dragonmaid deck on this channel a couple days ago, and I wanted to talk about maybe why you would want to go over 40 and how to figure out if it works for you. So if you want to see my 40 card build, just check on the channel. Posted a build 2-3 days ago. I'm actually going to go into this 54 card build that I kind of cooked up. So it's very similar to the other Dragonmaid build. However, I cut the kitchen because the kitchen's not as good. And then I'm also playing this 9 card Chaos Dragon package, adding Safe Earths, a Levianeer, a White Dragon Wyvern Buster, a Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, and 3 Chaos Space. And I guess the reason behind wanting to play an engine like this is Chaos Space acts as a starter or an extender in hands, and having cards that are flexible to cover these kind of positions to enable you to make a play is very strong. So I think the Chaos Space engine is very, very good. Obviously, you need to have a high light and dark account, which this deck doesn't naturally have. So the Safe Earths and the Black Metals and Knock Divisions and a lot of light hand traps kind of make up for the lackluster numbers. But because I'm playing these additional light and darks, I think the Chaos Space engine's pretty good. Every time I see this card, you're guaranteed to play through a hand trap and kind of go off. As for why, okay, so that explains the Chaos Spaces. The Star Lieges are basically a version of Chaos Space, but it eats your normal, and so I think the Star Liege is a little worse, actually. But in order to, get more targets for the Chaos Spaces, I think adding these are beneficial. So Star Liege also acts as a full combo normal summon, with your proper extender, but just a Star Liege can get you into a Heretic Seal or a Romulus. And that's pretty much the end game goal. And then playing the Safe Earths with the Levianeer adds to your deck ceiling. So on turn 1 or turn 3 or turn 2, whatever you're really trying to accomplish, you can use your Dragon Ravine to, dump a Levianeer to recur it with Safe Earth and basically continuously do that to, generate a Levianeer beatdown strategy. It's actually really cute. I was in a top deck war with a Altergeist deck, and I drew the Tidying, and I had just the Ravine on field, and I had this Levianeer engraved, and I actually dumped the Tidying to dump a Safer, recurred the Levianeer, and I ended up swinging for game that turn with 3 bodies on field and 5 cards in hand, just because of how much advantage I was able to generate. But I think Safe Earths could be warranted for an additional normal summon spot. Something to consider here is how many normal summons you could expect to draw in a given hand, and we'll kind of go into that in a second. But I think this kind of explains the reason as to why you would want to play this engine and what it does for the deck. As for additional changes, I added the 6th Reborn extender. I chose Monster Reborn over the Dragonmaid Hospitality because I think it's a little more flexible, being able to reborn, say, a Link monster, whereas this kind of makes you stuck into only Dragonmaids. I do think this is a little better, and like I said in the previous video, I don't think you need multiple Hospitalities in order to accomplish your combo. There is a theory, though, with potential bans. The Hospitality might be a more needed card depending on if something in the generic Dragon engine gets touched due to Dragon Link. So I added this additional extender. I added 1 Ogre and the playset of Gammas, and that was basically from the 40 card build to the 60 card or this 53 card build, just to keep the hand trap probability relatively the same. And I guess I can kind of show you how I dug up some math on that. So this is my 40 card Dragonmaid build. And this is my 53 card build. And I basically classified all these cards as if they're like a normal summon, a utility card, B for brick, E for extender, and I have the probability numbers here. So I'm looking at like seeing 1 to 3 cards in a hand as being playable. So normal summon wise, increasing to a 53 card build and adding 2 normal summons, drops your chance of seeing a normal summon a little bit. But if you look at where the numbers that are being dropped are, you're more likely to see 1 starter in a 53 card deck, which is probably better because you only need 1 normal summon. But you're dropping your chances to see 2 or 3, which I think is actually beneficial to what you're trying to accomplish. And then your ability to see an extender too is also a little lower, but once again, you're looking at losing the probability of seeing multiple as opposed to 1. So I think that's also a pretty good reason as to why you would want to move up to a 53 card build. I also have this S-S category, and that's basically like a spell starter that doesn't eat your normal summon, and so this is what I would classify as like a Chaos Space Dragon Ravine 1-for-1. And I know Dragon Ravine is truly an extender, but if you hard draw it, it can be used as a starter, and I wanted to factor that in. And so I actually have like a much higher likelihood to see a spell starter, which is very important because it allows you to play through like something that would disrupt your normal summon or a potential hand trap. And if I'm actually looking at the probability of seeing like a normal summon or a spell starter, that's where I kind of go into these categories here. So my starter chance with a 40 card build is just over 80%. Should see a starter in like I would say 16 or 17 hands out of every 20, as opposed to down here in the 53 card build, I'm more likely to see a starter, being more at like 85% or 84% hands. So I think this is definitely warranted as something good for the deck as to why you'd want to increase numbers. Looking at extenders too, I'm just as likely to see an extender, and all I really did was add the Chaos Spaces, the extra Reborn, and then hand traps too. With the additional 4 hand traps, I'm just a little more likely to see a hand trap. And once again, these numbers are only factoring in seeing like 1 to 3 copies, because you don't want to draw 5 normal summons. That's going to kill your hand. And basically, with the heavier main deck count, you are more likely to see the cards that you need to play the game, but not likely to see too many of one type of card, which would thus cause you to lose. So implications on this deck, I think overall the 53 card build that I have here is probably stronger than the 40 card build. The one downside would be the side deck. Because you're upping the numbers so high, you lose like a 5% chance to see side deck cards. So I think that makes it like way more important to have high side deck counts. Playing a lot of 3-ofs, Pank and Harpies. I think that's kind of self-explanatory as to why you kind of have to play it. But overall, I think that's something to consider. I don't know if this is better. I haven't done enough testing yet, but I just wanted to share my thoughts as to why you might want to go over the hard 40 number and what kind of benefits this brings. Another downside to potentially being over 40 is Dragonmaid Tidying is pretty important to draw for some of the combos. Obviously, like Safer or Chaos Space kind of generate their own combos, but Tidying is important to be able to field a grave. So I think the 53 card build here does have some struggles with being able to generate this or put this in the grave as an extra play of extension. But that's something I'm going to have to do more testing and look into. I just wanted to share my thoughts on this. You'll notice that I changed one extra deck card, which I think was a 3rd Heretic Seal, into an Omega. I just wanted my Gamma to be able to do something if it was summoned, and I did have the flex spot open. I think Omega is the best option here. I looked into like the Tenyi Berserker, but I didn't think that really did enough. And going into Boral Savage, Borreload Savage, I think it's hard because typically some plays might not get you a link engraved fast enough to be able to generate a negate before you'd be able to be like Nibiru'd. So I think Omega is pretty strong, and then Omega's ability to recycle your Tidings or your Safrits is also pretty strong. So I think overall this is something fun, definitely something to like look into. It's going to give you more like Dragon Link-esque vibes, but I try to show you some numbers here. I think it's a little more consistent on all fronts. You're a little less likely to see your brick cards, and a little less likely to see your utility cards. But it's going to be a trade-off. This is definitely something to like play around with if you want to have some fun. If you don't like the hand trap aspect to it, you can always trim some numbers down. But I think overall this is pretty strong. I think my next Dragonmaid video is going to be about implications of a potential ban list and where I could see this deck going if, say, like Romulus goes or if LP goes. These being like the two stronger generic dragon cards. I think we should have some sort of plan going forward if something like that happens, and so I want to do some brainstorming there. Alright, well, if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, I'm open to discussion if you guys have thoughts. I can kind of explain why I went down certain routes or how things are beneficial. So if you like it, please like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day. Bye.